Hi there, what's up and welcome to this particular session. So in fact, why session? I welcome you to iQuanta's CAT platform, CAT YouTube channel. The only intention that we have here is to ensure that, just a sec, I think the other screen has the sound on. So, welcome. In case you are new to our platform, please make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And we keep bringing in a lot of high quality sessions for you so that you can move towards your Dream Bee school. But how would you know that we are bringing all those sessions for you? The only way to do that is to press the bell icon so that you start getting the notifications as well. So if you happen to have any question, any issue, any concern whatsoever, please make sure that you do share that with me in the chat, and I would absolutely love to help you with it as we move forward. So let me see who all are here. Naveen, Vishal, Manoj, how are you guys doing? What's up? So right now I am looking at you, but when I look down, I'd actually be looking at your messages. So that will allow me to at least go ahead and answer everything rapidly. Oh, so we also have Yashin Krupali. So what is it that you want to know? Before I proceed further, we have scheduled this particular session because you have chosen to start your preparation early. So this is meant for people who are planning to write CAT 2025. When you start early, you can take care of all the basics. You can start from absolute scratch and build such a solid, such a strong foundation that absolutely nobody can stop you from being at the very top. And in fact, I have walked this journey, and that is why I have the map and the plan that I can go ahead and share with you. I have scored 100 percentile in the VARC section of the CAT. Not only that, I've actually scored 100% as well, where I managed to get all the questions right. So since I've walked this talk, I think I can very comfortably say that yes, it is possible for you as well. So the question now is, are you ready to work towards your Dream Bee school? Tell me. Do you want to work towards your Dream Bee school? Vishal says, me targeting 24. Vishal, then this session is not exactly for you. If you're targeting CAT 24, then I shared a brief preparation strategy a couple of days ago on this particular channel. That is meant more for you. Otherwise, the kind of timelines that I go ahead and talk about today, they may not make much sense for somebody who's targeting CAT 24. So here is something that I want you to keep in mind when you start working on English, and that is, it is a skill and therefore it takes time. People start, when they do not see a lot of improvements happening very fast, they tend to get frustrated and they tend to drop out. I don't want you to do that. Remain patient, remain consistent. If you can do that over the next 3 to 6 months, you would see a distinct improvement in your level of comfort when it comes to English. So let's start. Our agenda is to talk about all the different components of the verbal ability and reading comprehension section in the CAT exam, as well as in the other management entrance tests, because I am pretty confident that's not the only exam that you are going to appear for. So I will take you through all the other exams that matter as well. Then I talk about the kind of questions and areas that get asked, and finally I will leave you with a plan that will take you towards success moving forward. Okay, so if you have any question, just make sure that you drop it in the chat and I'd love to go through this. Okay, so let's start. So first thing is, why do you need an introduction? Why do we actually have all these sessions? So the truth is, no matter which exam you go on and prepare for, back in school, back in college, you've prepared for a lot of different exams. So the deal is, the preparation can start only when we know the syllabus. So the purpose of these introductory sessions, first up, is to ensure that you have the syllabus. Now, considering that you're preparing for CAT 25, we can actually talk about a little more things as well. So you have a target B school, right? There is a B school that you want to get into. So what all is required to make it to that particular college? So you know that typically you need to prepare for, or you need to appear for an exam, right? After the exam, they may have things like written ability test, personal interview, etc. But then there is some weightage given to your academic performance in school and college. There is some preference shown. There is some preference shown for some academic streams or academic disciplines. Additionally, they may also look at whether you have work experience or not. They may look at your gender, for that matter. Okay, so all of these things can, and I'll once again emphasize, all of these things can influence your chances of getting a call or your chances of getting a short list for the next round. So since you have a good, in fact 16 months with you right now, a little more than that, make sure that you focus on all of these other things wherever you can. For example, is there something that you can do about this? Well, you can't. You obviously cannot go in for a sex change operation. So we know it is a factor, but we can't do much about it. Can you do something about the academic discipline? Very little. You've already opted for a particular branch of learning. What you can though do is that you can go ahead and engage and do some other courses which are more consistent with your long-term career goals, so that you are able to bring in that particular dimension. But you can do something about your academic performance. You can start working harder. You can opt for work experience in case you are done with your graduation. Or if not that, then at least you can start taking up some internships, some projects, and all of those things can also ensure that you are eventually shortlisted on the basis of all of these things for this next round. So in your preparation, I want you to look at all of these things rather holistically. When you have time, that's the luxury that you do have. So is there anything that you want to know or ask within this domain? Let me have a look at your messages. Surya Gautam, I have been terrific. I'm a little under the weather, yaar. Aaj pata nahi kidhar se cold ho gaya, but then that's how it is. C. Tyagi, BCA student, want to give both NIMSET and CAT. Can I prepare for both in 24? Yaar, you won't really have a lot of time or a lot of luxury to prepare for multiple exams at this juncture if you have not started your prep yet. So my advice is start and then see how it basically works. So start at the earliest. But as I said, this session is not really oriented towards people who are preparing for CAT 24. It's more of CAT 25. So then I have a question from Yashin. Is work experience mandatory? No, not at all. There are some colleges and some programs where work experience is mandatory. So for example, ISB Hyderabad, yes, you need to have work experience. All the executive programs, you need to have work experience. You plan to do an MBA from abroad, from the US, from Europe, then yes, you need to have at least 2 years of work experience. For Indian B schools, work experiences for their flagship courses, barring ISB and Great Lakes Chennai, work experience is not mandatory at all. Then BA first year, Open University, also doing government job. Oh, terrific, Shivanshu, that is amazing. That's highly unusual. Will there be a consequence for the CAT? Yes, there will be a consequence, but it is going to be a positive consequence and not a negative one. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. Really good to see this. Naveen, low ACADS, no WorkX, many internships. Can you get IMs? Yes, absolutely yes. You can. Work experience, as I said, is not mandatory in India anyway. So why not? Low academics may and affect you adversely, but how do you counteract the low academics? You counteract by getting a terrific percentile in the CAT, and that is why this session where we are focusing on 100 percentile matters. Khyati says, from when our classes will start? CAT 25 batch is still a little while away. We can help you through these sessions on this platform. But I think when it comes to the batch, I'd have to talk to the team what they've planned for. But I don't see a batch starting for CAT 25 for another month or so. BBA student, can you crack CAT? Kyun? Why? Matlab, what kind of question would that be? Is there a curse on BBA students? You know, some god said that BBA students cannot clear the CAT exam. No. So of course you can. But because you're starting early, make sure that you look at all of these things holistically. Okay, make sure that you do not ignore or avoid any of these parameters. Solo traveler, tailored session for working professionals which start late night, post 10 p.m, early morning. Yeah, that's a good idea. We do conduct most of our sessions fairly late in the evenings, and the recordings are also available, but let us check, let us do a market survey. If our research says that there is a sizable market for this, why not? We can go ahead and do that. Okay, Amritanshu is updating. He's saying that the batch will start by July end. So I was wrong. We are starting the batch within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So if you are a CAT 25 aspirant, you have absolutely no reason to wait now. Go ahead and join in. Thank you, Amritanshu, for giving me this update. I also know about it now. So let's go ahead and figure out the exams. So as an aspirant, which all exams will you be writing or targeting? So all of us are definitely going to appear for the CAT because this exam is our door to the cream de la cream of the colleges. Some of the top colleges are accessed through this particular exam, including the IIMs along with quite a few other colleges. Then another exam that I very strongly recommend all of us to write is XAT, because it gives you access to this wonderful college called XLRI. So when you say CAT, it gives you access to the IIMs, and then there are a lot of other colleges, right? So you have MDI Gurgaon, you have Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, and then you have MICA, but then MICA can also be applied through XAT scores. Same is true for SP Jain, IMT Ghaziabad, a lot of other good colleges. Okay, then those of you who are interested in the symbiosis colleges. So there are two of them which are actually ranked very highly, SIBM and SCM HRD. Both of these are in Pune. There are 6 more colleges offered by symbiosis that exist from symbiosis. So even those. So if you're interested in any of these colleges, the exam that you need to write is SNAP. Then you know that there is this college called Narsi Monji, Mumbai. They also have a campus in Bangalore and Hyderabad, but most of us would basically be targeting the Mumbai campus for their flagship course. So you want to get in there, you need to appear for NMAT, and additionally, people with Maharashtrian domicile would obviously appear for Maharashtra CET. Even if you do not have a Maharashtrian domicile, these colleges in Maharashtra have some seats available through All India quota. So if you want to get into, say, a college like Jamnalal Bajaj, then this is the exam that you write. Then we of course have an exam called CMAT, we have an exam called CUET. These are some of those other exams. So last year there is this fabulous college called Tata Institute of Social Sciences, TISS. That took its admissions through CUET, and just in case there is anybody here who is looking at programs abroad. Okay, so if you are looking at programs abroad, for example, you want to get into an MIM program as a fresher, or you want to get into an MBA program as somebody with work experience, then targeting those will basically require that you go ahead and write the GMAT. So this is the domain of the exams that you will essentially be targeting as a graduate in India. So what do these exams test? So let's see, considering that this session is more about VARC, I will keep myself limited to that. So let me take you through CAT 23. So for those of you who do not know, CAT is basically a 120-minute exam. In these 120 minutes, you are supposed to go through 3 sections of 40 minutes each. So in a way, you can think of CAT as 3 40-minute exams that you appear for one after the other without any break. Now, what are these 3 sections? The 3 sections are quantitative aptitude, data interpretation and logical reasoning, and what the CAT guys call verbal ability and reading comprehension. So in the CAT 23, the time allotted to VARC was 40 minutes, and the number of questions for the last 3 years have been more or less constant, 24. And here is the breakup of the questions in CAT 23. So one of the key things that we have in the section is reading comprehension, which is basically nothing but an evolved form of unseen passages. And this contributes 16 questions. Imagine that. So RC is almost 1/4 of the entire exam. So that's like 25% of the paper right there for you. Okay, almost. Then there are these 4 question types that are based on paragraphs. And those 4 types are para-jumbles, where we are given a paragraph but the sentences are in a jumbled order. We need to rediscover that sequence. Then para-summary. In this question type, we are given a paragraph followed by 4 alternate summaries, and your job is to choose the best summary of that paragraph. Paragraph odd sentence out. I think I should write it completely. So here they give us 5 sentences. 4 of those sentences belong to the same paragraph. 1 does not. And the one that does not belong to that paragraph, well, that is the one that we are supposed to mark as an answer. And then finally, para completion, where they give us a paragraph with 4 blanks. Then there is a sentence given to us. We need to choose the best blank for that sentence, the best position for that sentence within that paragraph. So when it comes to the CAT, this is the domain that we have in this particular exam. But if I look at some other exams like XAT, now XAT is significantly different from the CAT. So let me give you an overview of the XAT exam first. It is conducted in 2 parts. So you have a part 1 and a part 2. So your part 1 is typical aptitude test with a very important addition. And what is that? It has a section called decision making. So if you're serious about XLRI, you of course need to ensure that your decision making ability increases exponentially moving forward. So in part 1, they ask you 75 questions and they give you 175 minutes. You are free to allocate those 175 minutes across these 3 areas, whichever way you fancy. After that, you have a 5-minute, not exactly a break, but a 5-minute window that allows you to check your keyboard. So in those 5 minutes, they give you a sentence. You're supposed to type it in order to ensure that all the keys of your keyboard are working. After that, you start with the part 2. Now part 2 has general knowledge, 25 questions, and an essay. So they gave 30 minutes for these 2 parts. We've just split them equally here, but most of the people in the actual exam spend around 10 minutes answering these 25 questions, and they devote the remaining 20 minutes to writing this essay. Another key thing is that there are two important things that you'd like to know. First up, whether you are shortlisted for the next round or not, that depends only on the score that you get in part 1. So part 2 will have no bearing on your getting shortlisted. In fact, your essays are not even going to be read unless you are somebody who is shortlisted for the next round. Okay, this is only the part 1. Now part 1 has negative marking. So every question carries 1 mark and every mistake leads to a deduction of 0.25 of a mark. But then that is the only Indian B school exam where you are punished for leaving questions unattempted as well. So for the first 8 questions that you leave out, they won't really impose any penalty. But every question that you leave out after 8 questions, they will start deducting 0.1 mark. So they in a way they give you ample time to attempt almost all the questions, and if you don't do that, they start imposing some penalty for that as well. So there is a progressive negative marking for leaving the questions unanswered as well. Okay, so that's basically the exam. Significantly different from the CAT. And if I specifically dive into the verbal ability section, no sectional time limit, 26 questions, and here is the breakup. So when you look at RC, when you look at para jumbles, when you look at summary, they are identical to the CAT exam, but in the CAT exam, they also give you a poem instead of a conventional passage to comprehend. Then there are these grammar based questions, mostly error identification. There are 2 vocabulary based questions which are typically fill in the blank, where they give you a sentence with 3 or 4 blanks and you are supposed to fill them up. And this is an exam that asks you direct questions on critical reasoning as well. So these are the areas that you do need to work on if you want to get a great score in the CAT exam. So let me see if there is any message coming in here. Confused from where you should. Oh, Mehak, this session will clear that confusion altogether. Don't worry. Good noon, Vanshika. Solving 2 to 3 RCs can get 95%. I have you covered. I'll tell you how much leads to 95%. And let's go says, sir, you are so slow. Why is it the case? Yeah, slow can have multiple meanings. One of those meanings can be that I'm dumb. I don't know whether I'd agree with that, but then in case you're talking about the pace of the session, then this is a session which is targeted for students who are appearing for CAT 2025. I'd rather tell them everything and clarify their doubts instead of leave them hanging, to know more and to gather information from elsewhere. If you find it slow, chances are that you either have most of this information or you are appearing for CAT 24. So check which category you belong to. Okay, so that's about CAT. And then when you talk about SNAP, another different exam. So CAT 120 minutes, CAT 175 plus 30 plus 5 minutes. That big an exam. And here is SNAP, which is basically just a 60-minute exam. In these 60 minutes, you are supposed to answer 60 questions. 15 of these 60 questions belong to English, and here is the breakup of the exam that we had last year. Grammar, vocab, figures of speech. If I look at the last 4 years, I'll also be able to see para-jumbles asked here, but what is missing? RC. No RC whatsoever in SNAP. So if you're somebody who's like, RC is what stops me, everything else is something that I'm really good at, well, here is an exam for you. And then yet another exam that I would like to talk about is NMAT. Now, NMAT typically is the first exam of the MBA season. How? So you can appear for NMAT between October and December. So unlike other exams which are conducted on a particular date, NMAT is an exam where you choose your own date, you choose your own slot between the dates that they go ahead and talk about. So typically around 15th of October to 3rd week of December is the date that you have. Now the other really important thing about NMAT is that it is a computer adaptive test. Now what do we mean by adaptive here? So no two individuals are going to get the same paper. So when you solve this particular exam, the moment you get a question right, the next question that is shown to you is of a higher difficulty level, and that question also carries more marks. You get that right and the next question will once again be of an even higher difficulty level and it will carry even more marks. So, and the moment you get it wrong, the opposite happens, right? The next question is easier, but then that question also carries fewer marks, right? So that adaptivity basically brings in another new dimension altogether. So here is the verbal section of NMAT. So you get 28 minutes and in these 28 minutes, how many questions are you supposed to answer? Any guesses? Wait, how many questions are we supposed to answer in the 28 minutes of NMAT? Go ahead. Tejas, I listen from people quant is so difficult. Yeah, all of us will find something or the other difficult. Whenever you find something difficult, all it means is that you need to put in more effort in that area as compared to the others. That's it. Otherwise, there is nothing here. Okay, then, so when is the batch starting? End of July, Road to Billions. The number of questions that you're supposed to answer is 36. So you notice you are not getting even 1 minute per question, and this was more or less the breakup last year. But these numbers are, these ranges are not very rigid. Every year the pattern keeps on changing and every individual got different questions. So we're looking at those ranges. So 36 questions. Here is the breakup. So you get a bit of RC, a bit of vocab, bit of parajumbles, bit of grammar, everything thrown in. Okay, but NMAT also happens to have a logical reasoning section where the time allotted is 40 minutes, questions are still 36. But within this section, they ask you non-verbal reasoning and verbal reasoning both. Usually they are equal, but there have been years, for example, last year some individuals had a higher number of verbal reasoning questions, and this verbal reasoning part is closer to English. In fact, you work on this area in the English classes. So the type of questions that you get were mostly along these lines. So statement assumption or statement conclusion, course of action, decision making, 2 questions each last year, strong and weak arguments, critical reasoning. So those regular paragraph based CR questions where they ask you for assumption, inference, strengthening, weakening. And then finally there's this area called syllogism. Last year we had 1 syllogism and 1 reverse syllogism question. And one more question, more about I think fact or statement, etc. So that essentially summarized to 36 questions. So it means that these things are now also added to your syllabus, because these things are not asked in the CAT, or for that matter even ZAT. ZAT does ask you critical reasoning, but these other varieties no. So if you're somebody who wants to prepare holistically for all these exams, that broadly speaking gives you the syllabus. So these are the different things that you want to do. So let's start our preparation. What is our goal? Our goal is to get 99 percentile plus in these exams when we appear for them. So within VARC, how much do you need to get, how much do you need to score to get this 99 percentile? Well, here is the data from the last 3 years. Check this out. So in the CAT exam, this is the score that you need. So every question in the CAT exam carries 3 marks, which means that, can I say that you need to get 13 to 15 questions net correct? And if you do that, you will be able to score 99 percentile. But then, 100% accuracy can be really challenging. So ideally, if you can have 80% plus accuracy, then it means that you need to attempt around 18 to 20 questions with 80% accuracy. So that's your goal. You need to ensure that over the course of next 16 months, you develop your ability to a level where even on a bad day, भाई जिस दिन कुछ नहीं हो रहा, चीज़ें खराब हो रही है, उस दिन भी you are able to attempt 18 to 20 questions with 80% accuracy. So how do you reach that level? That's where I come into picture. Work with me and I can tell you how you reach that level. So here is the lowdown, here is the syllabus. So when it comes to the English section, I typically divide it into 5 areas, right? Now it's a pyramid. The pyramid tells you that the areas that are below are needed by the areas that are above. So what do we have at the very beginning? Verbal reasoning, then vocab, grammar, reading comprehension, and any question type that cannot be put into one of these 4 boxes, we put it in this 5th box. You can call it miscellaneous, I call it VA, verbal ability. Okay, so all your paragraph based questions, your fill in the blank questions, your verbal analogy questions, your odd word out questions, they go here in this particular box. So considering that verbal reasoning is at the very bottom, this is going to be the foundation of our English preparation. So एक चीज़ तो ध्यान में रख लो कि अगर वर्बल रीजनिंग अच्छी नहीं हुई तो अबव एवरेज स्कोर तो नहीं आ पाएगा. सो अगर आपको अबव एवरेज स्कोर चाहिए तो वर्बल रीजनिंग में तो आई गो अहेड एंड से यार वर्बल रीजनिंग में अपने को ऑन एन एवरेज 90% एक्यूरेसी लानी है, सो दैट वी कैन गो अहेड एंड गेट a solid start to our preparation. Okay? Then when it comes to vocabulary and grammar, both of these are knowledge based areas. I'm calling them knowledge based because, yeah, look at a word. You have a word, that word has a meaning. Can you use your brain to figure that meaning out? Can you apply logic to figure that out? You can't. You need to know the meaning of a particular word. Same goes for grammar. So the good thing about knowledge based areas is that if you work with a good teacher, he is able to give that knowledge to you in a very effortless, easy, fun manner. So that should help, and that is where I think a good teacher and working with the right institute matters. When it comes to RC, it is mostly a skill based area. The moment we say an area is skill based, it means that you improve in it only through consistent practice, and whatever is there in verbal ability is mostly technique based. So essentially you need to learn the tricks, you need to learn the right approach so that you start moving towards great accuracy. So as such कुछ नई चीज़ नहीं है ना पैराजम्बल में. what is required in order to become good at parajumble? You need to be good at verbal reasoning, you need to be good at reading comprehension, occasionally grammar and vocabulary, but then along with that you need to learn the right technique, the right approach, and that's how you go on and become excellent. So in our classes we will dig deeper and talk about everything in detail, but I promised you that I will give you a strategy today so that you can start your preparation from today onwards. So there you go. So in CAT 23 we had RC, we had these paragraph based questions. In fact, that has been the case over the last 4 years. In fact, why 4 years? And since CAT 2017, this is exactly what we have been getting. The only new addition is para completion. This got introduced in 22. So let's start with these two things first, RC and VA. So beginning with RC. When we say reading comprehension, what is it that you need to do? What is it that you need to be good at in order to get that 80% plus accuracy? क्या चाहिए भाई बताओ? So in my sessions, I make you amazing at these 8 things. Out of this, the 8th, you see this asterisk? It is a part of verbal reasoning. In every exam other than RC, critical reasoning is asked separately. Here, half of your reading comprehension, not half, but at least around 1/3 of it is almost invariably critical reasoning that is disguised as RC. So these 8 things, you need to become excellent at these 8 things. So learn to read fast, learn to understand more, learn to read between the lines, improve your retention, that is, become better at generating an overview of the passage. Very important skill. Then understand all the different question types. So when it comes to RCs, there are 20 different question types that get asked. If you know each one of those 20 types, I think you're good to go. Then eliminating close answer choices. We so very often get stuck between two. So in each one of these question types, there is a particular trick that can help you eliminate the wrong answer choice faster. Okay, so learning that, then approaches towards RC passages. A lot of people ask me this question. Let me ask it to you. If you are attempting a passage, what should you do first? Read the passage first and then go to the questions, or read the questions first and then go to the passage? What do you think? What should the ideal approach be? Go ahead, tell me, passage first or questions first? And while you are answering, passage prioritization. Will you be able to attempt all the questions in the exam? We don't know. And as a result, we want to start with questions that are easy and then move towards questions that are more difficult. So you want to go ahead and work on passage prioritization. And finally, critical reasoning, which is part of VR. So answers, guys, passage first, questions first. I don't see that. So here is a preparation plan for RC. Now the moment I say, oi, let me give you a preparation plan, everybody is happy. Give it to me, no? And then I say that, RC fundamentally is a skill, so you need to start reading. People are still happy that, okay, I will read, sir. But then I say, you need to read more. And then I say you need to read more. People become less happy. They're like, okay. And then I say that, dude, all the reading that you do must also belong to different areas. Make sure that you have diversity, because, passages come from any area. So go out and read politics, biology, sociology, anthropology, economics, psychology, philosophy, art history, and you'd be like, damn, that's not done. So people's expressions change. But then if something has to be done, it has to be done. Let me see, a lot of answers are streaming in now. Passage first or questions first? First questions, first passages. Okay, so the short answer is passage and then questions. I'm sure those of you who've chosen questions first, I'm sure you have this in your mind. Why? Well, wait for the RC classes and we'll go ahead and tell you why. Okay, so I'm asking you to read, right? Read a newspaper, read long form articles and essays, and at this juncture people ask me, from where? What should be the source? So, well, read those sources from which passages are getting created. So what are the sources from which passages get created? Here is a source analysis for you. Go ahead and look at it carefully. So if you look at the last 6-7 years of the CAT exam, you'd notice that quite a few passages have been taken from New York Times. Quite a few passages have come from or have been created from this website called Eon Essays. Then The Guardian, Smithsonian, Time, Atlantic, Economist. I can give you one more. It had contributed some passages, fallen out of favor of late. Scientific American. So, why don't you read articles from these sources? These are the sources that the IIM guys are also reading. So, go ahead, pick those up. But then you notice that there are a lot of excerpts that come from books as well. So, the next thing will be read books too, and books from, once again, different areas. Do not confine yourself to one specific genre. So, at this juncture, once again, a question can be different areas. Which all areas? Can you tell me which areas? Now, I can say yes. Here is a genre analysis of the CAT paper of the last few years. What do you see? Asked very frequently. Then science and tech, ecology, zoology, biology. Then look at these, 9.26%. History, philosophy, psychology, culture. These passages are asked quite often, but then not many people are comfortable with culture. Politics, and then of course there are a lot of other passages that come in from different areas. They can actually create it from anywhere, but this tells you the kind of areas which should be high probability areas for you. Okay, so read books from these areas if possible. Right? Road to Billions says most of them are paid. No, Guardian is not paid, Eon is not paid, Smithsonian is not paid, and the ones that are paid, do you know how to bypass it? I can't tell that to you over the YouTube channel, over a YouTube channel. I can't tell you things publicly, some things publicly, but try and see if you can bypass the firewall of those websites, and it is possible. Try it out. Otherwise, someday when we are not on a public platform, I can go ahead and share more things. Okay, so here is a target for you. For the next 250 days, I want you to read for at least 25 minutes every day. Be it an article, be it an essay, be it a book, that is the least amount of reading that I am allocating to you the next 250 days. Doubts, questions, concerns? Telegram, connection break. Is that so? Let me check. Let me check if I am getting the feed or not. Okay. At this, okay, I think there are some stutters, some jitters that we are getting. I'll just give a heads up to the tech team, they will go ahead and look at it too. So, read books. Apart from that, start solving 10 passages every week. Oh, and before I talk about it, on the iQuanta website, you will find a list of 250 articles that are segregated on the basis of the genre. So you can actually start there. So if you have to worry about paid sites, etc. and all, go through these 250 articles first, and then we'll see. That takes care of a large chunk of the process for you. Apart from that, 10 RC passages every week in a very specific manner. So for 6 days a week, I want you to sit down and solve one passage every day. But on that 7th day, I want you to sit down and solve 4 RC passages in a single sitting. No break. No that you solve one passage, then you take a break and then you start other passages, or you solve 2 passages, then take a break and pick up the other 2 later in the day. No. All the 4 passages must be attempted together. If it is too painful in the beginning, you can start with 2 passages. Okay, solve 2 at a time, but within 3 to 4 weeks, switch over to this particular plan. Fair enough? So questions, concerns. So those of you wanted to know how to start the preparation, here it is. Abhay could be, I don't know, maybe there could have been some internet issues that, since I'm taking the session right now, I wouldn't even know, but there you are. So any doubt, any ambiguity, any concern with respect to RC? If yes, make sure that you put it in the chat down below. So some people at times at this juncture ask me that, oh, you are asking us to read books, so which book should I read and all that. So I actually made a list of books to read for beginners. It is there on our Instagram page. If you go there, you would see some reels with my face on it. In one of those, I have talked about the 6 books to read if you are not into reading. You know, if you're starting to read, that's where you begin from. Okay, so that's preparation for RC. Thereafter, the next thing is verbal ability. So the syllabus for verbal ability is these 4 question types as far as the CAT goes. If you go beyond CAT, then we will add close test to it. We will add paragraph odd, we've already added paragraph odd one out, but you will have the odd word out as part of your list. You'll have verbal analogy as part of your list. So all these there. So the CAT, and if you look at all 7, even the non-CAT exams, all of them will be taken care of through this particular method. So that's verbal ability. Now, what is it that you need to do from today on? You remember VA was the top of the pyramid. So as you become better at verbal reasoning, vocabulary, grammar, RC, you automatically become better at this. You just need to learn the techniques, but you notice something really fascinating. The first 4 question types, the ones that get asked in CAT, are all paragraph based. Ever wondered why the examiner wants to see how well you know the paragraphs? So the reason is, the professors at the IIMs want you to write well. Your ability to write well is something that they're interested in. They can't check it directly at this level, so they check it indirectly through parajumbles or other paragraph based questions. So for somebody who is preparing with a long-term perspective in mind, you need to go ahead and, so okay, once again, these are the genres that they go ahead and ask questions from, but then most of these genres except linguistics are the ones that you're already reading. So you need to start writing. So I'm saying, even if you write for just 5 minutes a day, even if you do that, or even if you can do that, things should be good. So write for at least 5 minutes a day. If possible, write half a page, 1 page every day. It will make you better at writing, plus it will give you that subconscious understanding of how ideas flow within a paragraph. But beyond that, treat each one of the 4 question types as a chapter and go through these chapters in this particular order. So what do you do? For every month, for example, let us say you're starting now. So you say July is when you focus on para summary. So you'll go through 5 questions every day until the end of the month. By then, hopefully you should have 70%, 80% accuracy. If yes, then you switch over to the next question type, repeat the process. Give it a month where you solve 5 questions a day, where you're not bothered about the time that it takes. You're just thinking of getting them right. And within 4 months, you would notice that you would be pretty comfortable. And in case you're not comfortable, your work on those other areas, RC, verbal reasoning, etc., will automatically go ahead and aid you. So instead of starting with this in July, I would actually say hold on. Instead of right now, how about starting this process in the month of August? Maybe you can start then. So that's about VA. Thereafter, verbal reasoning. So in verbal reasoning, these are the 5 things that I want you to go through. And this plus talks about all those NMAT question types. Statement assumption, statement conclusion, strong argument, weak argument, all of those. So these are the 5 things that you need to master thoroughly, and the preparation plan is nothing. You have never studied reasoning so far in your life. It's a new area for you. And because it is a new area for you, just wait for the classes. I would love it if you work with me, but even if you do not work with me, it's all right. Wherever you go, make sure that you work with a competent faculty member. If you want to work with a 100 percentiler, then I think you don't even have a choice. iQuanta is the only one where you get a 100 percentiler teaching you VA. Then you can in that case work with me or whatever. Just follow the sessions and the plan that is recommended to you by the faculty member there. What does Shivanshu say? Shivanshu says no sir. No to what? मैंने कौन सा सवाल पूछा भाई जिसमें नो बोला गया? अच्छा, तुम क्या ये बोल रहे हो कि नहीं और कहीं से नहीं पढ़ूंगा, आपसे ही पढ़ूंगा? उस केस में हाँ, then that should work. That's a good thought process. Okay, then what else? Road to Billions. Classes कब होंगे यार? बस जुलाई एंड से शुरू कर रहे हैं बैच. जुलाई एंड से आपके क्लासेस रेगुलरली शुरू कर देंगे हम लोग, पर तब तक तैयारी तो शुरू करें. आपको तैयारी करने के लिए क्लास की ज़रूरत नहीं है, तैयारी आज से शुरू हो जानी चाहिए. इसीलिए सेशंस ले रहे हैं ताकि आप काम करना शुरू कर दें. क्लासेस में हम उसको थोड़ा रिफाइन करेंगे, थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा इनपुट देंगे, कुछ एक्स्ट्रा चीज़ें बताएंगे और उससे आपका प्लान थोड़ा और रिफाइन करवाएंगे. ओके, देन ग्रामर. ग्रामर में सिलेबस क्या है? सो इन ग्रामर यू हैव दीज 8 पार्ट्स ऑफ स्पीच and you have 6 elements of sentence. So that 8 plus 6 is what you need to master. But is that all? No. There is one extra thing and one more. So 14 plus 1 plus 1. So all in all, there are these 16 chapters that you need to go through. And mind you, it is a knowledge based area. So how do you start your preparation for grammar? Pick up any basic book, okay? Any book that was used in a high school should work. So take a basic book of grammar and make sure that you read it twice at a rate of 7 pages a day. So that's all that I need you to do. For example, the book that I used in high school was Wren and Martin. So if I were the student, I know that I need to go through Wren and Martin. So I'll pick up Wren and Martin. It has around 350 pages. Since I'm reading it twice, that's around 700 pages. And I'm reading 7 pages every day. So in 100 days, I will be done with this basic grammar. After that, I will move over to exercises, practice. Initially, the practice is going to be chapter specific. After a while, my practice is going to become a mixed bag practice. And then eventually, you go ahead and start solving previous year questions. But to begin with, do this and you are going to be in a pretty good, pretty solid situation. So questions. Self-study, you've not started VRC. Harsh, you've gotten the plan? ओ रोड टू बिलियंस, यू स्टार्टेड इंजीनियर्स VRC, फैबुलस. तू CAT 24 दे रहा है क्या यार? तू गलत सेशन में नहीं है. हाँ, so again, that's grammar. Then vocabulary. So syllabus for vocabulary. Then whenever anybody asks me syllabus, I'm like, hey, can vocabulary really have a syllabus? No, but I can at least narrow it down a bit for you. Your goal is to learn high frequency words. Okay, words which are used in the newspapers and magazines, but you do not know those words. So you need to learn those words. Apart from that, there are quite a few question types that are asked, the questions which are based on vocabulary. So you'd like to know their tricks and techniques. Okay, so the strategy is very simple. You need to devote 20 to 30 minutes to vocabulary every day. Some messages are coming in. अच्छा 25 के लिए फिर इंजीनियर्स VRC चलेगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, बट आज जो प्लान शेयर कर रहा हूँ उसको थोड़ा फिर प्रियोरिटी पे डालो, उसे बाद में देख सकते हो. So 20 to 30 minutes. Now what do you do in these 20 to 30 minutes? Your goal is to learn new words through whichever technique that appeals to you. So when I say different techniques, you can go ahead and pick up a word list and then learn words from there. You can go ahead and use, say, some specialized books like Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis and work with that. Whatever technique works with you, you go ahead and use that. And apart from that, practice questions. And if you do this, you'd notice that you'd progressively go ahead and become better and better at vocabulary. If possible, make English. And why if possible? I know you can do that. Make English your primary language. Speak in English as much as you can, wherever you can. Okay? So that's for vocab. And finally, what are we left with now? We have talked about everything. So finally, I would just like to leave you with this thing that the most important element is consistency. The most important element is regularity. If you can walk the talk, yes, there is absolutely nothing that can stop you from getting a great score. So just to quickly summarize, what all have I told you so far? So for RC, you notice I have asked you to read for around 25 minutes every day, and I have asked you to start solving 10 passages every week, right? For VA, 5 questions a day. Not much, okay? Then grammar, 7 pages of a grammar book every day. Vocabulary, it is on this very page, 20 to 30 minutes every day. And for verbal reasoning, nothing at the moment. So this plan is what you now need to execute. And wherever you get stuck, wherever there is a confusion, we are available to you 24/7. Go to our Facebook group, ask your questions there. It's a vibrant community. People will answer it. You don't get an answer that you're happy with, tag me. I will respond to you. So execute this, and there is absolutely nobody that can prevent you from being at the top of that mountain. And 16 months from now, I know that I'll see you at the top. So if you enjoyed working with me in this session, don't forget to like the video, and once again subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon, and do reach out through the comments, through our Facebook group, through our WhatsApp group. Whatever issue that you have, we remain committed to resolving it. We are committed to making your life easy as an aspirant. मतलब अपना एक ही गोल है, तुमको कम से कम एफर्ट में कैसे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा मार्क्स दिलवाएं. And that's the challenge. That's what we are really after. Okay, so any question? बैच के लाइव क्लासेस जुलाई एंड से शुरू हो जाएंगे. एनी स्ट्रेटजीज फॉर ऑड वन आउट? हितिका, लेट्स वेट फॉर द क्लास, दैट विल मेक इट वेरी स्पेसिफिक. उसके लिए फिर मुझे पूरा पैराग्राफ का स्ट्रक्चर समझाना पड़ेगा, उसमें स्कोप की बात, लिमिटिंग पार्ट की बात करनी पड़ेगी, एंड देन वीड हैव टू सॉल्व सम क्वेश्चंस टुगेदर. दैट विल मेक इट वेरी स्पेसिफिक. सो वी डेफिनेटली डू दैट, बट इन अ पैराग्राफ ऑड वन आउट सेशन. Sir, I'll give 24 attempt in my final year. Oh, Harsh, fabulous, yaar. If you're eligible to appear for CAT 24, you should definitely put your heart and soul into this preparation and attempt the CAT 24. Okay, so that's it from me today. I look forward to meeting you once again in our next session. Until then, keep working hard, and wherever you are stuck, reach out and we will help you get unstuck. If you're still contemplating where to start my work from, yeah, join iQuanta and we'll take care of everything for you then. Okay, so this is Vikrant signing out for today. Have a nice evening ahead. Until we meet next, stay safe, stay secure, stay in touch. Take care.